Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another max effort lower day, but a quick reminder. For those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. So let's get over to the training. We hit training maxes on a squat and a deadlift variation today, which is pretty normal for me. And I kept my volume relatively moderate here, and the main reason is, people are like, you're doing less quad work. Well, we get quite a bit of quad work on speed days, and I'm doing a lot of sled dragging. In fact, I haven't had a day off from sled drags in about a week now, and I actually did them about an hour before I did this squat. So I went and did some sled drags, got a little bit of carbs in, rested, got a shower, and then came in and did this. So this is coming along good. 441 plus 65 pounds of bands off of a pretty deep box with the safety bar. I'm happy with this. Pretty close to a max though. And I think a goal I had set is that where I need to be back on this stuff, once I get finished cutting and down to a lower body weight, I need to be able to safety bar squat 500 off of a box. If I can do that, I am well in the clear for national records and stuff for the class I plan on doing. Like, it should be no problem at all. So did that, and then I did sumo deadlifts against 73 pounds of chains. This one wasn't bad, so I went up another 20, went to 525 plus 73 chains. Wasn't a true max. It felt really good, and I stopped with a good training max. We were above 90%. Pretty happy with it, right? Happy with it. Although finding a position that felt good on my hips was a little harder today, and it could be the amount of wide stance stuff I'm doing. I do need to watch that. But I found the position that worked good for this, happy with it. And nice, good lockout, held it, set it down. And I could have made another jump, but I'm like, let's just call it quits there today and get on to all my other work. So today, I went ahead and bumped the Romanian deadlifts. And I thought about adding some good mornings in, but I realized this is about all my posterior chain can handle, right? Because all my workouts are going to be, what are they going to hit? They're going to hit erectors, glutes, hamstrings, adductors pretty hard. Not overly worried with quads because I get speed squats, we get speed pulls, and then I'm doing a lot of sled dragging. So if we start doing the math on that, I'm getting at least 12 sets for quads every week. If I count each session of sled drags as one set for my quads, we're in that range still. We're in our optimal zone. But I have to look at this stuff, and I wanted to add another movement, but then I kind of did the math and realized, well, if I just did 4 sets of glute ham raises, where are we? Well, not counting the maxes, it puts me at 7 sets for hamstrings. And adductors, because I feel my adductors on the glute ham raise quite a bit. They get worked probably a little harder on the RDL. What about low back? Well, 3 sets for erectors here. Another 3 sets on the reverse hypers. That's 6 sets for erectors. Now, keeping in mind, we get up a little more on speed days because the speed work itself starts accumulating. And the other thing is that I'm going to do, my upper body sessions are going to be cut a little bit lower because I'm looking at what do I really need in there. And so I'm just doing, with my restoration work, I've decided to add restoration work back in. So off days, what do we do? Well, and even between sessions, sometimes on the main days, I'm back to doing reverse hypers for restoration. So it's, again, low back, and I'm doing some band press downs. Okay, plenty of tricep and elbow tendon work. So really those are areas that I benefit from in terms of restoration. So I'm doing them, and then I do hanging leg raises. And I've got people who say, you don't show it. I showed you guys actually a shirtless hanging leg raise a while back, right? So you guys know what's going on there. I try to do about 15 sets of hanging leg raises a week. Sometimes I get more, but that's my goal. And then I do my dead hangs. But really, we don't need all that. You guys know that I do those things, and they're not part of the main workouts. But I am thinking this through in terms of my overall training volume, because my volumes have been creeping up a little high. I'm probably really not eating enough calories to fully handle it. And again, going to have to slowly over time tighten that diet up to keep losing body fat. So I do need to watch the volume a little bit closely and just work on quality volume of where do I really need it. And can we push progression? All right, so even these RDLs, I'm trying to add weight 5 pounds every session. And could I probably gone a hair heavier today? Sure, but they're challenging. We're still getting progressive overload, and that's the main thing that matters. With these, doing these glute ham raises this way to where I try to get a hyperextension at the bottom. These just destroyed my posterior chain. I hurt after every single set. The fourth set, I didn't think I was going to get all 12 reps. So we're pretty much getting on limit sets here, right? And we're at pretty much PRs for reps on this setting at this point, right? Because I've gotten, getting 4 sets of 12, I've never gotten more than 10 reps on a 4th set. So again, we're seeing progress here. So we'll push it hard. The same thing on the reverse hypers. Took the weight I've currently been using and picked up a couple reps. Had to push it a little harder, so I'll bump it 5 pounds next time. So this just puts us in a position to where even with just these 3 exercises, if you start doing the math, everything is growing, right? Keeping in mind, we get some attenuation of a lot of these fibers off the max work first. But again, come back and we look at the math here. What are we getting? We're getting 7 sets for hamstrings and adductors if we don't count the reverse hyper. Everything hits glutes, right? Everything hits glutes. I think the glute ham raise hits it the least, to be honest, in spite of the name. RDLs hit it better, and again, reverse hypers hit glutes super hard for me. And we'll get 6 sets for the erectors and the glutes, right? 7 sets for hamstrings and adductors, not counting the maxes. We're in a good place. And then keeping in mind all the restoration stuff. And then we come over, if we start thinking about the sled drags, those are quad and adductors. So my quads and adductors are getting a lot of work. And it's mainly because of the sled drags done preferably every day, but almost every day. I've had some weeks recently where I got 5 to 6, but then now it's up to 7. So any day in which I am physically up to doing a sled drag early in the morning, I'll get up and do it. If weather permits, I'm not going to go out in the rain and drag a sled. And that does interfere sometimes. But that does accumulate towards my training volume. And we're going to see me moderate the volume a little more on the upper days. A couple exercises, the smaller movements are going to get pulled out. We have to look at what do I need the most? What's going to give me the most bang for my buck? Because really I'm going to do about 6 heavy sets of presses, 6 heavy sets of rowing, and then smaller movements for delts, upper back, arms, triceps, biceps. But then if I'm also doing all the restoration, doing a bunch of high rep band stuff, that does contribute to tricep volume through the week. In fact, it probably puts my triceps at the highest volume for the upper body. Just like my low back is probably getting the most volume. For the lower body, maybe glutes with, again, the reverse hypers added in, doing on off days for really high reps. So realistically, the volume is not even that low. Some people might look at some of this and say, well, it doesn't seem like a lot. It is a lot of volume. Even the lower body on these days, you pull the restoration work and just add in the sled drags, and then you factor in how much I do on dynamic days. Even if I replicate these sort of workouts after, on dynamic days, the dynamic volume is getting real high because I'm doing a lot of sets. And that does count towards weekly volume. And keep in mind, we re-spark muscle protein synthesis on our second workout. Right, so one of them can be slightly higher than the other. But it's only because, again, the speed work versus the dynamic work there. And it's because I'm doing 2 different exercises for a lot of volume on dynamic lower days. But the volumes themselves are still relatively high. It's just some of this is going to look a little lower than you guys see me do in certain phases. But I think I'm at a point where I don't really need those sort of volumes. I need to focus on quality, progressive overload on all of these movements, and just keep pushing them forward the best that I can. Because again, I'm not bulking right now, right? I'm not gaining weight. I don't have a calorie surplus really to help me. I'm in a very, very small calorie deficit. Now, I'm going to try to make some progress, and we are making some progress while doing that. And I'm going to have some phases coming up where I'll drop a little quicker, right? Because, again, we need to. And people keep asking, when are you going to compete again? I told you guys I'm not going to answer that. Although I think you guys will be surprised at what I do. I do actually have something on the schedule. But it's not going to necessarily be what you guys are going to expect for powerlifting meet. I actually do have something on the schedule that I've already paid the entry fee for. But you guys will just have to wait and see. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.